My hair is so fluffy today. It's like uber fluff. Hey guys, Ian here and welcome back to another creature creation session being recorded once again live on Twitch. Today I've been given once again another fine selection of 12 animals by the Twitch chat. So the animals that the Twitch chat are voting between are a bloodworm, a salamander, a lionfish, an alligator, a snapping turtle, a Venezuelan poodle moth, which is a fantastic name, a mouse, a hellbender, a blue dragon sea slug, a shoebill, a quetzal, and a Watusi cow. So without any further ado, let's see what the animals that we are going to be using today will be. First of all, a bloodworm. I hate you guys. The next one is going to be, we have once again another tie between a snapping turtle and a Venezuelan poodle moth, so that's taken our animals up to 4 once again. And our third animal is going to be a Watusi cow. This animal is going to be weird and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. Let's jump straight into Photoshop and start mashing them together. My initial thought with this beast was to use the body from the bloodworm as kind of a blank canvas and then add attributes from the other animals onto it, including trying to combine as many of the head shapes together as I could. That ended up kind of looking weird. In fact, it reminded me of Alf from the old 80s TV series. So I scrapped that idea and started moving more towards using the main body shape from the snapping turtle and adding other attributes onto that. The main difficulty I had was combining in the poodle moth. In the end, I just made it a very fluffy creature and then added in some extra limbs. I also put the moth's eyes on top of its head, so it had kind of these false eyes. So when its head was down and it was grazing, it kind of still looked like it was looking around to put off and dissuade predators. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, this has been really challenging to try and find a way of combining these 3 animals. 4 animals, even. I mean, combining the snapping turtle, the bloodworm, and the cow is fine, I can do that, but throwing in this guy along with it, look at him, he's so cute. How can I possibly combine something so cute and fluffy into something that looks like this? But this is the animal that we're going to go with. What we've decided is that when it has its head down and it's grazing, it has full size like the eyes from the Venezuelan poodle moth. So it looks like just this cute fluffy cow-like creature, but when you get up to it, it has these horrific mandibles with the bloodworm's jaw on the inside. I think it's going to be really cool and kind of sketchy. I think also environment-wise, we're all in kind of agreement that it may be sort of a swampy or marshland type creature, or maybe out on the moorlands where it might be a bit marshy down in the valleys. I'm kind of liking where this is going, and I think as we develop it further in the final piece, we're definitely going to end up with something looking really cool. So let's carry on and see what we end up with. Something I always try and do with my creature designs is to try and really think about them in an environment and in a setting. Try and really flesh out the creature beyond just being a design for something. So with that in mind and looking at the proportions of it and the fact that it had this big shell and it was obviously quite a slow creature and had these big horns and such, it was obviously going to be a herbivore. Using the mouth parts from the bloodworm kind of give it a much more intimidating look than you might expect from a herbivore, but actually a lot of creatures that survive on algae from the bottom of ponds and lakes and stuff, they have quite similar looking mouth parts to this. And they'll actually use them to kind of rasp away at rocks to get the algae and things off of that. So with that in mind, I was fairly confident that our idea of putting this creature into some kind of moorland or marshy kind of environment was really going to help sell the creature. Along with, I decided to make it a herd animal as well. And with those design ideas in mind as I went into the final piece, I was able to kind of bring the entire creature together. Whereas if I had just kept it as that creature design on its own, I don't think it would have necessarily worked as well. But with the environment and the other creatures there and the rest of the herd and things like this, it really started to kind of make it more of a tangible creature, and I started enjoying the design and getting into it a lot more than I would have done, I think, otherwise. Having an idea of the type of environment that the creature is going to be living in before you go into actually doing the final design is really helpful for a number of other reasons as well. First reason is the environment is going to affect the colours, which ultimately the creature is. I wanted to use the kind of white fluffiness from the poodle moth. Because this thing is going to be living in a marshy type environment, the fur is going to get all kind of muddy and wet and damp, so it's probably going to have algae and things growing in it as well. So I didn't want to go with the pure white of the poodle moth, but instead added in greens and browns and subtle different colours to it in order to kind of make it feel that much damper and kind of sodden. The other thing that the environment is going to affect a lot is the colour of the light and how the light is actually hitting the animal. So out on a moorland type environment is going to be a very open sky. There's not going to be much blocking the light, so I wanted to have a very bright, very crisp light hitting it. So I was using very deep golden yellows and things for when I was adding in the lights, but also using sort of subtly yellow browns and stuff when I was doing the shadows. That helps to emphasize the fact that this is out in the open and there's not much kind of blocking or changing the color of the light as it hits the animal. It adds this much more natural kind of sunlit feeling to the final creature. Painting environments themselves is something that I used to avoid. I don't know why, but I used to be kind of scared of it. But certainly in the last sort of 6 months or so, it's something that I've really started to enjoy doing, is coming up with these different environments, and they don't have to be complicated. Partly because I use a lot of filters and blurs and things to try and push the background further away. But even then, they really don't have to be that complicated. It's just a case of trying to get the feeling of the background. Remember, the main focus of the piece of art here is on the animal. You don't want to have too much detail going on behind it, because that would be very distracting. So my approach to environments is to keep it very loose and to just get big, bold colors in to show where the light is and where the shadow is, and not get too hung up on details. That being said, throwing in little details like reeds and rocks and things like that into the background really kind of helps solidify and bring everything together and sell the idea that this is a very damp, marshy environment. And even the puddle of water at the front, I didn't want anything to be too complicated. I didn't want to spend too much time on it, so I could have gone in and painted in the water myself, but instead I just used some brushes that I've got just to very quickly get the impression of water there instead. And the same with the rocks and things around the shore of that little bit of water there. They're very simple, just splodges of paint. And it comes out very effective, I think, at the end of the day, and really helps bring the whole picture together without adding a huge amount of time to the final piece.
Well, at the start of this stream, I had absolutely no idea where we were going to go. I had absolutely not got a clue how we could possibly combine those four creatures together. I think we've come up with something which is nicely unique. And of course, Twitch chat has come up with a fantastic name for it. We are calling this creature the Woolly Mimic. It was definitely a challenging one to work on, just simply because I had no idea where to go with it. It's fitting, I feel, that we've come up with such a woolly, fluffy creature when my hair is looking quite so woolly and fluffy itself, because we're worth it. Guys, I hope you have enjoyed this creature creation session. If you have, please do leave a like. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And as always, take care, and I'll see you next time.